Good morning. I'm Steph Ward, she, her, and I serve on the board of directors. Welcome to White Bear Unitarian Universalist Church. We are a community of youth, adults, and children of many diverse theologies, held together by covenant, not creed. We find value in being together and celebrating rituals and rites of passage together, as we will today. Together we share the values of courage, reverence, and compassion. Welcome to any visitors. We're so glad you're here. May you find deep welcome and belonging here in this place. To share a request for today's meditation, please place it in the chat box online or add it to our meditation bowl over by the Soulwork Center before the opening hymn. Please gain consent before you use someone's full name. We do offer spiritual growth opportunities for children and youth during the 11 a.m. service, and we offer nursery care during both services. We ask that you register ahead of time. Please see Matt Thielen if you have any questions. As always, children are welcome to stay with you during the service. We welcome their noises, movements, and mirth that little ones bring. Please take a moment and wave to those who are attending online. And welcome to our guest musicians this morning, Rebecca. We're so glad you're here with us. Thank you for sharing the gift of your music with us. Services go 60 to 75 minutes long, but if you need to leave before then, you're welcome to use the doors at the rear of the sanctuary. For those still left in the room at the end, please join us for social hour after the service in the social hall. Welcome to our church. Together we grow our souls and serve the world in love.
Stop what you're doing. Everything is blooming, and I am stuck here in the sun. I'm trying to catch up. I'm begging, please don't touch. I'm delicate, I yearn to be I know I need to grow. I know I need to grow. I know, so why do I need my roots all in the ground? Why do I need the seedlings to be found? Why can't I bloom before I grow? I just need time to reap what I sow. Please stop your staring in. I know you think it's carrying, but just because I'm a little sprout doesn't mean you should mind. I can feel my thin leaves stirring in the cool breeze. Every time I'm wrong and wish
I'm Reverend Jessica, and my pronouns are she, her. Will you take a breath with me today? Our call to worship this morning is the same one we do every Sunday, and if you know the words, you're invited to say it with me now, and if you don't know them, you're invited to just receive them. Come in. Come into this place which we make holy by our presence. Come in with all your vulnerabilities and strengths, fears and anxieties, loves and hopes. For here you need not hide nor pretend, nor be anything other than who you are and who you are called to be. Come into this place where we can touch and be touched, heal and be healed, forgive and be forgiven. Come into this place where the ordinary is sanctified, the human is celebrated, the compassionate is expected. Come into this place. Together we make it a holy place.
My name is Bjorn Peterson, and I use he, him, and they, them pronouns. It's a delicate time around here. People are feeling raw, tender, confused. There will be tantrums and tears, fear of violence, and hope for a satisfying outcome. Of course, I'm talking about those of us who this week will have the sacred duty to divide up our Halloween candy. We hope to ride this emotional roller coaster with minimal nausea, minds as clear from the highs and lows of sugary binging as possible, and in accordance with the needs and dignity of all involved. But fear is a powerful force, and we worry whether we'll come out the other end together. Enter resilience, that tenacious tendency inherent in the species that allows us to persevere, especially when faced by far more grave challenges than candy distribution. When scarcity and threat of violence rattle the walls of our homes, it is understandable to want to disappear, to withdraw participation, to hoard, to go without. There's so much limitation in community life that we can lose sense of our agency altogether. Working to interrupt cycles of violence and enhance nonviolent responses to conflict is my day job at Nonviolent Peace Force. One thing I've learned is that safety is never a zero-sum game. Even if I take temporary comfort in my isolated well-being, it is not secure if my other lacks their own safety. Our futures are inseparable. We need something that keeps us going, keeps us engaged, an action to animate our hope. And when we look to our ancestors, we find a truth in which we can take refuge. We are still here, still loving, still insisting on the abundance of life together. It's an old song, a hymn, a lullaby, a composition of possibility that calls us forward generation after generation. We sing it now on dark nights, and we assemble ourselves to its incarnation. Each of us hearing it differently, each of us playing our own part, relying on the capacity of the whole and blending our voices into its prophetic call. I hear it calling me to poetry and to share the resilience that I hear as this poem attempts to do, called The Music Overcomes. Let the song of this day rise in your chest. Discover the meter that carries even the most discordant truth through walls. Strike your unmistakable note like a soft rubber mallet draws the whole arborous history from the marimba's mahogany bars. Let the timbre of your being resonate among this collection. So long as rains move mountains and the winds form seas, the friction of the universe in motion will send songs to undo even the most ancient of comet and coal. Find your moments to step forward into silence, sensing the power of your tone in its absence. Sink into the rhythm, Feel the improvised way. Dance out your part. Rest in the beauty of the whole. In this hour, in this space, choose to fulfill this prophecy. The music overcomes. Today, let us light the chalice for the overcoming that our species has done from time immemorial. Let us light the chalice of our ancestors who watch us now to see what we will do with the legacies they have left us. Let us light it for our other, whose future is inseparable from ours. And let us light it for the music that overcomes. And now, please join me in our opening words, printed in your bulletin and on the screen. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to grow together in love, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Please rise and body in spirit for the singing of our first hymn, number 67 in your gray hymnal, verses 1, 3, and 4 of We Sing Now Together. We sing now together our song of thanksgiving, rejoicing in God, which the ages have wrought. For life that enfolds us and helps and heals and holds us, and leads beyond the goals which our forebears once sought. We sing of the prophets, the teachers, the dreamers, designers, creators, and workers and seers. Our own lives expanding, our gratitude commanding, their deeds have made immortal their days and their years. We sing of community now in the making, in every far continent, region, and land, with those of all races, all times and names and places. We pledge ourselves in covenant firmly to stand.
Now I invite up any children and youth who would like to come up for our story today. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. As they are gathering, who here knows the story of why we have a flaming chalice? See a couple hands in the back, couple hands. So why we have a flaming chalice, originally it was a two-dimensional image stamped on documents by the Unitarian Service Committee to help Jewish refugees escape Nazi persecution on the eve of World War II. The design had been hastily put together by Hans Deutsch, himself a refugee. He was working at the direction of the USC's director, Reverend Charles Joy, who believed such a logo would make the paperwork look more official, because remember, they were making forged documents to help people get out of Europe. And so, in the 80s, we started lighting physical chalices in our congregations. This is why we have our symbol of the chalice today. Who knows who these people are? I see a hand way in the back, Victor. You want to yell it out, Victor? Yes, Waitzel and Martha Sharp. These are the Sharps. There was a documentary about them on PBS a couple of years ago called The Sharps War. These are two people. Waitzel was a minister serving a congregation in Massachusetts. They're married. They had 2 children, ages 3 and 6. And in February of 1939, they left after the Unitarian Service Committee asked them to go to Europe to help people who were fleeing the Nazis. So they went to Prague in former Czechoslovakia to coordinate relief work there. And they first began to obtain visas for people, get safe passage, education, and employment, and very quickly they could see that the Nazis were going to invade Prague. And so they burned all their records and continued their work, and the day after they burned their records, the Nazis marched into Prague. That same day, Martha guided a resistance leader to asylum at the British Assembly. She was stopped by Nazi guards 3 times and used her American passport to get past them and claimed that the person she was helping was her spouse and that they needed to move past them, and was able to use her American privilege to help this person to safety. A few days later, Waitzel arranged for a member of the Czech parliament to be smuggled from a hospital morgue in a body bag. And the Gestapo didn't want their work to continue, so they raided their office, they threw their furniture on the street, and still they continued on. And then in August, Waitzel attended a conference in Switzerland and wasn't allowed to come back into the country. And Martha heard she was going to be arrested, so they both left Prague and returned to Massachusetts. The following May, the president of the American Unitarian Association asked them to return to Europe, and they continued their work helping refugees in Marseille, in Free France, and in Lisbon, Portugal. They helped Nobel laureates escape, they helped writers escape, artists, and they helped ordinary people like you and me escape. And they, along with others with the Unitarian Service Committee, helped more than 2,000 adults and children escape. So we name them today because their work is our work in this world we live in today, to continue doing the work of justice and making the world a more safe and equitable place. So now we will sing our kids out to their spiritual growth circles. Will you join me in singing them out? The beginning of our time of meditation and prayer together, I invite us to bless all who are involved in our election process. This blessing is from Reverend Jennifer Nordstrom. She writes, I have been so inspired by so many of our members who've been giving their all to support democracy and the democratic process, which is a key part of our Unitarian Universalist value of justice. Today, as we prepare for another election cycle, we want to bless you, the sacred work you are doing to support democracy. So when I read the following actions to support democracy, if you have done any of them in this election cycle or will be doing them this week, please rise by standing or raising your arms and stay up through the whole list. So if you are working at the polls, please rise. If you are providing rides to the polls, please rise. If you have been working to register voters, please rise. If you've been working to get out the vote through postcards, calls, canvassing, or with your friends and family, please rise. If you've been working on campaigns, if you've attended candidate forums, rallies, demonstrations, if you've written letters to the editor, if you've contributed financially to pro-democracy organizations, please rise. If you are voting your UU values, please rise. Look around at yourselves. Look at the people who are with you, supporting and defending democracy, working for our Unitarian Universalist values. I invite you to hold up your hands now to each other and send your love and blessings to one another in this sacred work. You are not alone this week. You carry this blessing, this solidarity, this community with you in your work to defend democracy. Thank you for all you do. Let's sing a round of We Give Thanks to each other. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share in love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. You may be seated. As we bless all who are working for democracy, we hold the prayers of this community. We hold prayers for a member's family, prayers for grace and understanding, prayers for a member's mother. We hold prayers for member Naomi Baer, who has entered hospice and is expected to pass soon. We hold her and her family in care during this time. We hold in prayer and care Jackie Medilak. Jackie reports she is a lot stronger after being home from the hospital for 5 weeks, so strong that chemo will restart tomorrow. She and her husband, Steve Kahn, thank this extraordinary church community for the many beautiful gestures of love and support during this time. Now it's time for you to name the prayers on your hearts. May all who are named be held in great care. Our prayer this morning is from the Reverend Kristen Graschel-Schmidt. I invite you to cast your eyes down or close them, center yourselves. If you have something in your hands, set it down as we breathe together. Friends, we have gathered this morning with gratitude for all that has brought us to this day, this moment, this breath. Let us never forget that we serve our neighbors, our values, our free faith in the spirit of the many who have gone before us, who made ways where there was no way, who left legacies for us to remember, to follow, to emulate. As we prepare for the week ahead, let us pray that the fire of commitment, the spirit of truth, love, and justice that was in all those ancestors goes with us. God of many names and beyond all naming, Spirit of life, breath of life, in this time when so many stakes feel so high, help us to remember that no season lasts forever, that the days of the greedy and powerful are numbered, that there is a force at work in our world and among us that lifts up the oppressed and fills the hungry with good things. In this season of growing cold, may we all remember to stoke the flame of resistance that burns within and among us. a flame that warms and unites us against the forces that lead to inequity and injustice. In this season of drought, free us from despair's well-worn ruts. Make through the deserts of our hearts and our world a way for faith and hope, joy and love like ever-flowing streams. In this season of growing darkness, help us to turn away from the glare of life's distractions so we might accept the gifts of darkness and in the midst of all the work, look up and remember how fearfully and wonderfully we each have been made from the very stuff of stars. In the name of all that is good, all that is holy, all that is just and right and true. Amen.
You may remain seated for the singing of our next hymn, which is number 1031 in your teal hymnal, Filled with Loving Kindness.
Announcements are long this morning, guys, I'm sorry. In community news announcements, today after the second service, all are welcome for a poetry reading with WBUUC member Bjorn Peterson in the sanctuary from 1 to 2. They will be reading from their recently published book and selling copies as well. This week, we're offering a community meal and post-election vespers on Wednesday evening, starting at 5:30. And we'll also have choir rehearsal and a parent circle as well. All are welcome to our Music on Maple concert next Saturday night with Grammy Award-winning artist Nachito Herrera. Please see a member of our planning team. They're at the table in the atrium after the service. It is sure to be an amazing concert, and you won't want to miss it. In additional announcements, this year's Jingle and Mingle auction will be an event of Olympic proportions featuring a Greek dinner prepared and served by our medal-worthy kitchen team. And it's time to donate your treasures. The auction website is up and running and ready to receive your donations. Teach a skill offer sports tickets or vacation getaways, share your art, offer a service, make food, cook dinner, host a gathering. Share your ideas and we can help make them happen. To register your donation, you go to the website, which I think is on the order of service. And then you can click Donate Items here. Deliver your items to church, preferably after December 1st, and include a label on the item with your name, a brief description, and suggested price. You can take them to the auction table on Sundays, to the office on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, or Thursdays, or arrange with the auction co-chairs, Jean or Melva, who I don't see. I was gonna have them wave, but I don't see them. Oh, just kidding. Hi, Jean's back there. And Melva's there. Working together, we can make the 2024 auction a winning event for our church community. Thank you. Special collection today goes to the Disaster Relief Fund of the Unitarian Universalist Association. The UUA is seeking donations to help UU congregants in the Hurricane Helene affected areas of the Southeast United States, including North Carolina and surrounding states. Your donation will aid UU members and their community in their recovery from the horrific hurricane disaster. You can give via the offertory baskets on the website or use the text to give number printed in the order of service and in the chat box for those of you online. Please indicate the keyword disaster. However you choose to give, thank you for your generosity and your faith in this life we live together. The offertory will now be gratefully collected.
So sad it is blue for Sunday hue, maybe a moment too soon. Now I'm new alone and awake. I am a goddess snake, blending my color with you. Fortune favors my weakness. I was never a fake, but almost halfway there. Moving myself along and knowing that I'm wrong, eating my dining room chair. I am addicted to indecision. I am addicted and I feel wicked.
Our first reading this morning is from the Reverend Ashley Horan. You are loved beyond belief. You are enough. You are precious. Your work and your life matter, and you are not alone. You are part of a we, a great cloud of witnesses living and dead who have insisted that this beautiful, broken world of ours is a blessing worthy of both deep gratitude and fierce protection. Whatever happens Tuesday, our ancestors and our descendants are beckoning us, compelling us to onward toward greater connection, greater compassion, greater commitment to one another and to the earth. Together, we are resilient and resourceful enough to say yes to that call, to make it our life's work in 1,000 different ways, knowing that we can do no other than bind ourselves more tightly together and throw ourselves into the holy work of showing up again and again to be part of building that world of which we dream, but which we have not yet seen. Our second reading is from the Reverend Dr. Rebecca Parker. Your gifts, whatever you discover them to be, can be used to bless or curse the world. The mind's power, the strength of the hands, the reaches of the heart, the gift of speaking, listening, imagining, seeing, waiting. And of any of these can serve to feed the hungry, bind up wounds, welcome the stranger, praise what is sacred, do the work of justice, or offer love. Any of these can draw down the prison door, hoard bread, abandon the poor, obscure what is holy, comply with injustice, or withhold love. You must answer this question. What will you do with your gifts? Choose to bless the world. The choice to bless the world can take you into solitude, to search for the sources of power and grace, native wisdom, healing, and liberation. More, the choice will draw you into community, the endeavor shared, the heritage passed on, the companionship of struggle, the importance of keeping faith, the life of ritual and praise, the comfort of human friendship, the company of earth, the chorus of life welcoming you. None of us alone can save the world. Together, that is another possibility waiting.
Moments unfolding around.
Can you feel it? That current in the air. It sits between you and me. When you ask, "How are you?" And I reply with that shared sense of foreboding and hope all mixed together. At times over the past few days, it has been a weight on my chest that no amount of self-soothing mechanisms can relieve. Maybe you felt similarly. As we gather here in this holy sanctuary, we gather to remind each other that no matter what happens, we will show up for each other and others who need us. And right now, our task is to show up for ourselves. This past week, I held a pre-election processing circle for people to come and name what they are holding. People named fear and hope in equal measure. Some named that they are news junkies, they can't get enough of the news. And others named that they couldn't look at the news because it's too much. And we have navigated this time up to this election. Each of us has moved through periods of being oversaturated with news and needing to turn it off, to put the phone down, to find that quiet center. And I have found my quiet center over this past week by repeating this song in my head, "Loosen, Loosen" by Allie Halpert. If you know it, join with me. Loosen, loosen, baby, you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. In the eye of the hurricane, there is silence. No, I'm not going to start singing Hamilton. But it's true, in the eye there is silence. When Hurricane Milton recently went through Florida, I was watching the news nonstop because of having family in St. Petersburg. I remember a video showing the eye of the storm from someone within it. That eerie sense of quiet, waiting for that storm. And depending on how big a hurricane is, how wide it is, that time period of eerie calm can be upwards of hours. The walls of the hurricane completely surround you, but in the middle is quiet, is calm. And we know that no matter what happens this week, there is the threat of real violence. The hurricane is real. And so our invitation right now is to work to find that quiet center, to nurture that quiet center within each of us, to feel our feelings and be grounded for what is to come. And what's true is that with the more privilege you carry, it's easier to find your quiet center. If your rights aren't on the line for this election, you're carrying this time differently than people whose very humanity is being voted on, because that's what's at stake with this election. On Friday, I traveled to Milwaukee to attend an ordination installation of a dear colleague. When I arrived, the friend I was staying with said, "Oh, I'm in line to vote. It's a lot longer than I thought it would be. Can you come meet me?" So I went to meet her at the local library. The line was down the block. The election workers said it had been that way every day. It took my friend an hour to submit her vote, and we had a conversation about election suppression methods, which are very real in Wisconsin, and what it meant to live in a state where democracy was so at risk. As we stood in that line, there was a quiet hush over the group as she and I were chanting, "Show me what democracy looks like." Thank you. So there was a quiet, we didn't do it too loud because we didn't want to be kicked out of the line. We did it louder afterwards. But there was a quiet hush over the group. It felt like this tentative hope. People were cautious about talking with one another, keeping to themselves, as I saw all generations, races, abilities gather to make sure that their voices were heard. And so, depending on whether you have voted early or whether you are waiting until Tuesday, we're in this liminal space right now, this waiting, watching, feeling tentative hope, cautious optimism, fear, and for many of us, an eerie sense of deja vu. I put on my safety pin from 2016 this morning onto my blazer. We have been here before, optimistic that our values would be elected, and what's true is that between the years of oppressive administrations, of violence against democracy, of white supremacist violence, and the pandemic, none of us are the same people we were back in 2016. We are changed, we have gone through trauma, we are still going through trauma. All of us have gone through trauma. No one in this country is unchanged from the last 8 years. No one in this world is. Our very DNA has been changed. Our children's DNA, our bodies carry the trauma, all of us. White supremacy hurts us all. The pandemic hurt us all and continues to hurt us all. And in this, we are connected. And as Reverend Jack reminded us a couple weeks ago, we are still connected by our shared humanity, however this election turns out. As the rhetoric has increased, as the threats of violence, the hate has spewed, I confess I struggle to find the common humanity when driving around my neighborhood, when driving to this congregation. It's hard to hear harm spoken of in such blatant, violent, and traumatic terms and see how many of our neighbors support that. I'm not going to stand up here and lie to you and tell you that I drive around in a constant state of recognizing our interdependent web. I don't. I drive around and I'm angry and I'm scared, and maybe you are too. Loosen, loosen, baby, you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. In Laura Vandernoot Lipsky and Connie Burke's book, Trauma Stewardship, An Everyday Guide to Caring for Self While Caring for Others, Laura writes as a social worker who came to realize that she had absorbed and accumulated trauma to the point it had become part of her, and her view of the world had changed. She said, rather than staying in touch with a heart that was breaking again and again as a result of what she was witnessing, she started building up walls. She became cocky, losing sight of her humility. She became hardened and exhausted. What she is referencing is trauma exposure response, also known as compassion fatigue, secondary traumatic stress disorder, vicarious traumatization, secondary trauma, and empathetic strain. Maybe you've heard one of these phrases. She puts trauma exposure response, how we respond to being exposed to trauma, under this larger umbrella of trauma stewardship. Stewardship being, how do we care for the trauma of the world in ways that continue to care for ourselves? How do we keep our heart open, but not so porous that we lose sight of it? Brene Brown talks about this in cultivating a strong back and a soft heart. Connie Burke invites people to become trauma stewards, to not lose sight of themselves and remain committed to helping to build the world we dream about. But part of that process is recognizing what your trauma exposure responses are. They list many in the book. Some of them are anger and cynicism, fear, guilt, disassociative moments, chronic exhaustion, an inability to embrace complexity, a sense that one can never do enough, to name a few. And what's true is that many of these are coping mechanisms that we have developed to survive. But today and in this time together, I'm inviting you to check in with yourself and see if they're showing up in your life and if they're serving you, or are they getting in your way? Getting in your way of relationship, getting in your way of keeping your heart open. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Trauma stewardship states the essence of this approach is to cultivate the quality of being present to our own lives, to those we are connected to, and to this planet. Because as Unitarian Universalists, we care about the world, we care about justice, we care about each other. This is who we are as a people. And sometimes caring so much can cause a hardness, can make us go into apathy because it's all so much. And through cultivating the quality of being present, we ground ourselves in the here and now and remind ourselves of that greater truth that we are holy, sacred beings, interconnected and interdependent. This book reminds us that we don't have to be enlightened in some far-off sense. Instead, as Pema Chodron defines enlightenment, it is a wholehearted, open-minded interaction with our world. A wholehearted, open-minded interaction with our world. That is a spiritual practice. Process theology says that God is not a specific being. God is constantly being created in the world, in the beauty of the world, in the impermanence of it. When people choose to widen their worldview, when people choose love, when people vote their UU values, God is right there. And when we choose to make space, choose to go towards a quiet center in the midst of the hurricane that is this election season, we are choosing to cultivate a quality of attention, to cultivate that enlightenment that Pema talked about, to cultivate a wholehearted, open-minded interaction with our world. And that means we can't stay up here all the time. We have to drop down to our bodies, to listen to them, to tend to them, to feel those feelings. And I've had a lot of feelings this past week. To cry, to rage, to crawl under the covers and comfort yourself if you need it. Having a strong back and a soft heart means cultivating a quality of listening to that still small voice inside of you. And the more you can make space for that which is connected intimately with the divine, the more you can see it in others you meet. And this is not easy work, my friends. But we gather together in our spaces because we know we need hope. We need the hope of being with other people who are committed to showing up, who are in this work for the long haul, and also committed to spiritual growth and transformation because, newsflash, that's what you signed up for when you came into this place. You might not have known it. When you said yes to this community, even if today is your first day, you are going to leave this service a different person than when you came in. We are all changed by keeping our hearts open to each other, by our relationships, by how we make space for quiet, for nurturing spiritual practices. So whatever happens this week, know that this community will be here, we will be here to help hold you, to help us all be trauma stewards, to continue caring for the world, to do the work of relationship building, of dismantling systems of oppression, of dismantling the white supremacist system that our nation was founded on. Remember that cultivating a quality of attention means you notice beauty, you notice joy, you notice that quiet, even when the hurricane is going on around you. Take deep care of yourself and your beloveds this week. We are all moving in the world very tenderly with hurting and hopeful hearts. Amen. And so, For our closing hymn, Blue Boat Home, we are going to get in a big circle. Oh, I'm making you move. It's true. You are invited to get in a big circle, and if you do not know the lyrics, try and position yourself somewhere where you can see the screen. And you can join hands, or if you don't want to join hands with your neighbors, you can place your hand on your chest. Try and make, if we can, one big circle. We're going to go in.
If you would like to look at a hymnal, it's number 1064 in the teal hymnal.
The circle can be creative and include our beloveds in the pews, so feel free to make a line down the middle to include our beloveds in the pews. Please remain where you are for our benediction. Our benediction is from Reverend Daniel O'Connell. Hold on. Despite daily dismay, despite righteous rage, hold on. Despite shaming of the innocent, hold on. Despite fresh stories of bullying and hate, hold on. Hold on to what is good and honest and true. Find that calm center of yours, hiding behind a door, and hold on. Despite the noise of bickering and profanity, hold on to kindness. Despite the whirlwind of potential tragedy, despite the possibility of progress pushed back, hold on. Hold on to this house of memory and hope as a haven for religious liberals now needed more than ever. Hold on and hold fast, for together we make a beacon of love and hope. Together we make a beacon whose light pushes back the darkness. Elections come and go. This faith has been here for over 100 years, and we look to over 100 more. Hold on. This too shall pass. Hold on. May you hold on and go towards kindness in the week ahead, beloveds, and whatever happens, this community will be here to hold you. Please return to your seats for our postlude from Rebecca.